Hello. We're back. You got my milk? Of course. For those of you who have watched SpongeBob SquarePants, there's an episode where they get lost in the kelp forest. SpongeBob and Patrick and Squidward. And Squidward with his like with his like 130 120 130 IQ is like trying to find all these ways out, and he's running around through this kelp forest trying to figure out how to get out of here. And he's like pleading with SpongeBob. He's like, SpongeBob, what do we do? Like, we have to find a way out. Come on. Patrick's just chilling there. He's not doing much. Like normal. Good for him. And SpongeBob takes out this magic conch and he goes, I know what to do, Squidward. Really, SpongeBob? I know what to do. We'll listen to the magic conch. And he takes it and he pulls the string. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene. And he pulls it. And he goes, oh, magic conch, what should we do? He pulls it. And the string goes in. And it goes, nothing. And then they sit there. They just do nothing. And Squidward's like, what do you mean? We can't just do nothing? And it just cuts back to Patrick and SpongeBob just like sitting there like doing nothing. And then, like the episode goes like a plane flies overhead and it's like crashing, so they dump all of their like extra cargo, which is like a bunch of like picnic baskets and stuff, and it just lands right in front of them, like while Squidward is trying to scheme and plot his way out of the kelp forest. SpongeBob just sits there with the courage to believe the conch better than the thoughts in his own head. And he goes, the conch will tell us what to do. He says, nothing. And he does nothing, and it all works out. And they get this huge picnic, and they're like, they thought they were going to starve to death, and it's quite the opposite now. I just really like that depiction. That stillness. Oof. The stillness that he has. While Squidward, the smartest guy in the room, is freaking out. As much of a scholar as Squidward is, as great of a clarinet player Squidward is, he's freaking out. SpongeBob, he's a fry cook. But he has what Squidward doesn't, that's faith. Now, me personally, how do I have faith in myself, but not necessarily not in me as an individual, but because I've surrendered to Christ, to God, and I've allowed that to dwell in me, and then by the transitive property, I've now received the Spirit and the courage to have faith in myself because it is in Christ, and I connect with God in that way. Not to say that I didn't have faith in myself before, but it was mistakenly placed. I had faith in myself until things didn't work out, and then I lost all faith. Right? So, do I have faith in myself? Yes and no. Because who am I? I'm not me in the same context in which I would refer to me in the past, not necessarily. Because that me never actually existed. It was a fake self that I created. Me is the fake self, right? Your true self is there whether you acknowledge it or not. And if you believe in me, then you're probably ignoring your true self. But SpongeBob puts faith in the conch. He says, this will help us out of the kelp forest. This will solve our problems. And he goes, what do you do? Nothing. So go watch a scene. It's like the wire goes down and he's like waiting for the answer. And he's like, nothing. And they just do nothing and everything fixes itself. Now, I'm not saying that it's a good idea to just do nothing in your life necessarily. But I will say that for most of my life, I was the type of person I was like, if there is something I can do about something, I'm going to do it. If there's anything, if there's something wrong and I'm not doing anything about it, then it means it's not really a big problem. Which sounds good. Sounds very much like my the like my idea of like my, what is it, like my your internal versus external, like what is like uh locus of control or whatever it's called, is was very high. My external one that I could, or like my internal one that I could really control the outcomes and stuff, right? But like kind of pulling apart and disassociating things that are important and my ability to control them, right, was something that was really hard to do without faith. I think was something I couldn't actually do without proper faith. Faith in something that was greater than me, right? If you only if you only put faith in yourself, if the highest form of faith you have is in yourself, which sounds good on paper, but if that's the highest form, eventually you're going to get to a point where as soon as something makes you question yourself, everything in your life will fall apart, because what you put your faith in is what you build your life on top of. That's it, right? So SpongeBob, I guess he put his faith in the conch, but it was more than the conch. He put his faith in his intuition. He puts his faith in his intuition. His intuition. Now, I don't think SpongeBob goes. I think this is where the buck stops with SpongeBob. Okay, but I would put money on that. If SpongeBob were here with us, that how does he find the courage to put faith in his own intuition? Because it's lined up with our source, with God, right? So then you have the you can then have the courage and the ability to have a faith, maybe even a blind faith. There's no rationality that could explain SpongeBob's answer to the question, which was to do nothing. Yet it worked. And we talked about in the last video, like, about logic being not what should happen, but what does. And so in a way, like, in this scenario specifically, like, you could say, logically speaking, what SpongeBob did was stupid, right? Or doesn't make any sense. How could you just sit there and do nothing? But then everything works out, and you go, maybe there are forces at play greater than logic. Just maybe, right? Logic's good here and there, but be careful. If you put your faith in logic, build your life on top of logic. I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't have logic be part of what you build. You should, but have that be the bedrock of what you build on top of. Purely logic. Why do you think you're capable of pure logic, anyways? You're not a machine. You're a human. You're not an AI. Maybe you're a reptilian. I don't know. Have you ever asked yourself that? It's like, oh, but logic, but do you actually have... Are you even capable of fully perceiving logic? But anyways, I've kind of made that point already, but it's good to hit again. But yeah, he pulls the consciousness, do nothing. And I find myself now, and that's like a mantra I have for myself. Now when things are happening in my life and I'm like, I'm like, man, what should I do? Should I go this way? Should I make this decision? Like, should I go there? Or like, what do I do? And I go, wait, Eureka, I got it. Nothing. I'm going to do nothing. I'm going to do nothing. Because if I'm in a situation I genuinely don't know what to do, I'm not going to go around acting like I have it figured out and put and pretend to have like a deep conviction into a solution. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to have the courage to let what needs to be revealed to me, let it be revealed. And if I know what to do and I feel that and my intuition tells me, then I don't need to logically deduce it. I know it to be true. It supersedes it. It comes from God, which is love, which exists in a higher plane than logic and reason and three-dimensional science. Don't you understand? Don't you get it? No, but really, it's like when I'm in a situation and I'm like, ooh, what do I do? Should I go left, right? Should I go to this person about this, or should I go here instead of there, or what do I do? What do I do, Lord? This Lord the child. What do I do? I do nothing. Not because I plan to do, not because I just want to do nothing, but I trust myself. I'm in touch with my true self. My intuition is lined up with my source, at least enough to where I can have enough faith in it to sit still, to have peace in knowing that there are times where I might not know exactly what to do, but that it will be revealed to me in the time in which I need to know it. If there's a decision I don't know what it is, it means that I don't need to know what to do right now. I just need to stay more present and just stay more focused on what's in front of me. Cross that bridge when you get there is maybe a more common way to say this, but it's true. Kind of like unpacking that saying, right? But so that saying that cross that bridge when you get there makes it it I think a lot of people like saying that, but like actually deconstructing what that means, or how you can get to a point where you can really feel comfortable not just saying that, but actually living that way. It's hard, it's difficult. But you have to have faith. And for the record, everybody has faith. Everybody has faith in something. It's themselves, it's maybe their significant other, or it's like hopefully it's God. Right, it's God. It could be a sports team. Ugh, gosh, we all know I love sports, but Lord, putting my faith into and nobody would really say like, yeah, my life is built on a sports team. There are some people, gosh, man, that's got us, the face painters and everything, but like, no, but seriously, like, people who are like put their faith in a sports team, they might not say that they do, but they live like they do, so they might as well do it. They might as well say it if they're care more about how they live than what they say. But you get my point, right? Everybody puts their faith in something. It's like, are you putting your faith in the things that will last, that you can actually build on top of, right? And it's not to say that if you don't put your faith in God, you can't build anything in your life. It's not true. It's just that you're going to be very much limited to what you can put your faith into. I mean, what you can build on top of that faith, because that thing will, in due time, will collapse. Because you'll keep building and building on top of it, right? So you're either going to limit yourself, you're only going to be able to build a certain amount and realize that's all I can do, and that's where you're going to be. Or you're going to think that you've built it on something completely rock solid, and you're going to keep building, and then it's going to collapse. Your house of cards is just going to blow over. Right? That's happened to me multiple times. Living like I had it figured out and just continuing to build until bottoms out from the foundation. Not even the structure itself, the foundation bottoms out. Controlled demolition. September 11th of my life. C4 in the basement. Security evacuated. Who, by the way, George Bush's cousin ran the security company. Anyways, doesn't matter. No, but for real, SpongeBob, he pulls the conch and he goes, Nothing. We're gonna do nothing. It's like the avoiding the probablys, right? This is probably the way out of the kelp forest. We're all in the kelp forest. How are you gonna get out? Are you just gonna run around like a madman? I'm just gonna figure it out. And what is this, like Maze Runner? You read Maze Runner and you're like, we just gotta like, we just gotta keep running through the maze until we find the way out. I mean, like, no, sit still, be still, and wait for the answers to come to you. I'm not saying don't do anything. You should be doing stuff, but act on the things that you have true conviction on the things where knowledge, where wisdom, where those things have been truly given to you, or where you can fully move with conviction. Because even if you know the right thing to do, if you can't approach it with conviction, you might as well not know it at all. If you don't put belief in the things that you know, then it's just a thought in your head at that point. You haven't really done anything with it. You haven't blessed it with the power of belief. A lot of people think that we have evolved to have this ability to believe in things, to like create our own realities. And like some people would say like, oh, it's stoned ape theory because we like took a bunch of mushrooms or something, which is like, I understand how that makes sense, and I can't necessarily disprove that, but like I don't know, that's just what some people think. It doesn't really matter what I think, honestly. Some people, they think like it was just like a societal thing or a cultural thing. Or like there was an evolutionary reason why we developed it, but it kind of like has outlived its purpose because we have science. Yeah. Yeah. The last like 200 years of science have, or maybe 300, modern Enlightenment era science and beyond has superseded all of human history. Sure, dude. Whatever. But they think that there's the notion that kind of floats around, I feel like, culturally speaking, that like belief is just something we use to delude ourselves, and that in that way it's kind of a bug. How like you would look at like us having tailbones is like, oh, that's just like the like evolution hasn't taken care of that yet. We actually don't even have a reason to have those. It's like because we evolved from the animals that used to have them, and we're still like there's a term for it, but I don't really give a shit about learning it. I think it's a bunch of bull, anyways. Vestigial. There you go. I do know it. Public school taught me well. Vestigial. Vestigial something. Vestigial things. Like, and that belief is like, of the mind is like vestigial. Like, we don't need it anymore because we know everything. We have read it. But I believe it's a feature. I believe it's a feature that our ability to put our belief into things grants it access to work into our lives. And if you say that to people, to 99% of people with zero biblical context, they will agree with you. But if you say that, like, if you start mentioning the Bible, Jesus, all these things, people will be like, you're crazy. Right? You can literally say the same thing, just present it differently. And people will reject it. And that's a whole nother conversation. But go read the Bible if you want to figure out why that is. But yeah, I believe it's a feature. I don't think it's a bug. I think it's a feature that we've been given the ability to put our belief, our faith, our belief into things, and in that way granting access to ourselves in this plane, and for that to flow through us. Like the thought, here's how, like the order of operations, there's a thought that comes from above and enters. We are cell towers, right? It comes in, enters, we receive it, good, negative, whatever. For that thought to take form in any shape, you must believe it, at even the slightest degree. It can grow, but for the seed to even sprout at all, the water is belief. The water that you pour on that seed, which is the thought, is your belief. And you're constantly receiving all of these seeds of thought. right? But if you never water them, right, and they come in and they just go out, or you reject them, you dig them out of the soil and you throw them away, of course they never grow. But as soon as you pour that water, as soon as you pour that belief on top of it, now it blossoms. And that is like, to me, that's like unequivocally true. Because, so you do kind of shape your reality that way. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that everything means nothing. You're just making everything up. It means that you are receiving these things. All the things are happening. You are shaping your own reality. But from what source? How are you shaping your reality? Where are you receiving the thoughts? Where are you receiving this information that you're then applying to the world around you to form your reality? And then what kind of world, what kind of reality you're going to form for yourself by doing that? If you're trying to plant a garden, right? If you're trying to grow a garden, and you want to grow a bunch of watermelons, right? But you take a bunch of pumpkin seeds and you start pouring water over those pumpkin seeds, well, you're going to grow a bunch of pumpkins. You're going to grow a bunch of demonic pumpkins. Not to hate on pumpkins. I think pumpkins are great. But you ain't going to grow no damn watermelons. That's for sure. So if you're going to grow a garden, if you're going to grow your life and to grow your garden and the plants you want to blossom in your garden are things like goodness, love, gratitude, mercy, all these nice things, these forgiveness, all of these things that we all agree are good. Then where are you going to get those seeds from? You should probably receive them from the source, from the one who makes all of these things, from where they actually come from. You can't go to the devil and say, give me seeds of gratefulness. You can go to the devil and say, I want to grow narcissism, I want to grow selfishness, I want to grow hate in my garden. He'll give you all the damn seeds you want. Don't go. You can't go to the person selling pumpkin seeds and ask for watermelon seeds. You can't. I don't want to beat that analogy over the head, beat it dead, but really, where are you? You're getting all these thoughts, and unfortunately, the way this works is that we're constantly under the influence of spiritual forces, good and bad forces. Therefore, they are firing thoughts into your head, and you're receiving them like the cell tower you are, right? Because like we've discussed, you aren't any of these thoughts, by the way, right? Like a gardener is not his garden. A gardener is not even the seed. The gardener is he tends to it, and he waters and he plants. He kind of, I'm not going to say he exists outside of the garden, but he manages the whole thing. He just looks at the whole picture. So all that you are really is just your consciousness reflecting on all your thoughts. And then what you do with your consciousness, your water, as the gardener is pouring, you pour your belief over these seeds of thought. And then whoop-de-doo, you will know true faith by the fruit it bears. So you will be able to tell what plants you're growing in your garden by crazy what grows out of it. So and this is okay if you do this, because everyone's done this, where you think, oh, I'm growing watermelon, and then you water it and you're like, that's a damn pumpkin. I just grew a damn pumpkin in my garden. What the fuck? Well, then you got to know, okay, next time I get seeds from there, I'm going to know, I'm not going to fall for it again knowing that it's pumpkin. Knowing that's not watermelon, I know it's pumpkin now. I ain't going to water those seeds anymore. But the more you grow watermelon seeds, the more you'll understand the difference between the two. You'll be able to tell immediately. You won't even have to water them. You'll know, this is from the devil. This is from God, right? It takes some practice. Faith is a practice. It is. Like you just like being a gardener is a practice. You're not gonna nail it on your first try. You'll never do that with anything, of course. There are moments of revelation and epiphanies along the way for sure. When God really needs to nudge you in the right direction, absolutely. But for the most part, this is a practice. But here's the catch: if you don't believe in your power of belief, your garden is rotted out from the inside to begin with. You can't grow anything. You can't grow shit. You can't grow anything. Then what happens is that then the devil comes in and he starts planning whatever he wants for you. And that's how you enter, straight psychosis. That's if you want to end up on if you want to end up on antidepressant SSRI medication, start telling yourself that you don't have the power to believe in anything. That's a bunch of bullshit. If you tell yourself that, you'll probably be on antidepressants in like a year. The speed run, SSRI speed run. My power to belief is not real. Oof. Your belief forms your reality. It does. And that's not to say that your reality isn't like you do make up your reality, but that doesn't also mean at the same time that things don't exist outside of your reality as well. That it's not to say that you are the arbiter of everything that's real. No, you just experience a piece of it, and and God has given you free will and the privilege and the gift to shape it for yourself. And in that, he says, will they choose the seed of my spirit? Will you? Because God obviously loves you and wants you to love him, but if he forces you to love him and doesn't give you the choice to do it, then it's never love to begin with. You can't love something if you don't decide to do it. So you must decide to water those seeds. You must. If you are trying to align yourself with our source, with truth, with love. And by the way, truth and love are the same thing. We're going to go over that. We're going to go over that soon. They are this. So yeah, what are you going to water in your garden? What are you going to plant? And do you have the courage, right? Do you have the courage to sit still when you don't know what to do, right? And instead of just looking out at the seeds and being like, okay, I'm just going to plant all of them and water all of them, right? To be like, I'm just going to sit here and wait a little longer. Or I'm going to wait, you know what, maybe I won't even plant any of these seeds because I just don't know what they are. Why would I grow these in my garden if I don't know what they're going to be? I'm going to be patient. I'm going to have the courage to have faith to know that I will figure this out, or that something will come that will reveal to me what seed I should water, or that I will receive a new thought, a new seed that I don't have to second guess, that I have conviction about. Because if I'm not convicted that this is what I should water, then it's probably like that for a reason. Not to say that one of them isn't a watermelon, and not to say that this one isn't a pumpkin or whatever it is, but go with what you have conviction about. Do that. Don't move through the world without conviction. Because when you eventually circle back, right, to trying to direct yourself towards the seed that God plants in your life, right? If you've built the practice of conviction, when those come around, you will move towards those things. You will water those thoughts, those seeds with conviction. You will do it, and they will grow, and you will see the fruit of that spirit, of that seed, of that thought, and they will grow, and you will be like, aha, this is from God. I can trust this. Whatever comes that is in alignment with this, I will continue to water and plant in my garden, and then more and more will come, and then you'll be able to plant more watermelons and less pumpkins. I wonder why watermelons and pumpkins popped into my head. I know why. Kind of makes sense, but it doesn't. Yeah, it does make sense. If you don't think it makes sense, so yeah. Have the courage to be still. Have the courage to be still, to be still, and examine what you're going to plant in your garden and what you're going to follow through with and what you have conviction on. And if you don't know, have the courage and enough and develop your faith to sit still and to wait and to know that maybe doing nothing is the right way, at least for now. And when you know, you'll know, and have faith in that. That when you know, you'll know, and that's when you're supposed to know. I used to live my life being like I have to control and change everything that is wrong, and if I'm not doing anything about it, that just means that because it's not actually a problem. That's a big old pumpkin. That's growing a big old stinking pumpkin because that's putting faith in me. I am the one that can fix it all. I've got it. I just got to keep trying. And if people don't understand, it's because they don't understand my genius. If they just were a little bit more like me, all the problems in the world would disappear. That's a big old pumpkin. It's a big old pumpkin. Roast some watermelon.